Okay, so thanks everyone for tuning in. We're looking for feedback from our network in terms of should we build this? Carlos Chacon here, and I am joined by my partner.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mariano Cobo. Glad to be here and looking forward for your comments.
We come from the SQL Server space, and one of the things that we saw as a potential gap was the audit process. SQL Server auditing exists, right? We don't see it used in that many environments. And we were approached by an organization that would like to get better audits. There are some tools out there that somewhat build it up to themselves. And we thought, okay, the way organizations really want to work is they want that information to then flow into other applications that they have. So we really want to provide the plumbing, if you will, from SQL Server into these applications. So because it's 2026, we thought, let's integrate agentic thought into this process and make it easy for every single SQL Server operator to be able to ingest files and look at what's happening inside their SQL Server. So that's what we aim to do with this. And we would like to understand if this is something that would be of interest to you. So to start at the highest level, you would come to the Covoco site and you'd be able to do these 4 things inside the site. So in our case, we're going to create an account, right? If you already have one, you can log in. We want to be a security first. And so obviously, again, it's 2026, we're going to have MFA. And you are going to come to your dashboard. It'll be your first time logging in. And here, what you'll need to do is to download the connector. So this connector is ultimately going to be a piece of software that lives inside of your Microsoft resource group. And it's going to contain all the pieces, all the code required for us to be able to run the audit and do the agent integration. Okay, so for example, here you come to the marketplace, you would find your K audit and download it and install that into your environment. Whether that ends up being a container or a VM, right? We're not sure. Again, you're going to control this and manage it. Once it gets downloaded, you'll then see it here in your environment. You'll notice we've changed now to a desktop. Again, for this example, we're in the desktop. In theory, this would already be installed, but just so that you can see that you would have there's some configuration to do. You would specify where you want to keep your audit location, your audit files, and ultimately from that configuration perspective, you're done. So this now is going to sit inside of your environment, and you can now start to interact with the app. In this example, we've shown it here again in your environment. Whether this ends up in the website is still up for debate, but the idea is once you have this container, you'll then be able to connect to your databases.
The idea of this application or setting here is to connect to your SQL Server instances that you want to audit and streamline the process of creating the audit. So the idea is to have templates already done for SOC 2 or for HIPAA or whatever regulation that you are aiming. The idea is to have those templates ready. And when you add the server, that audit template will be deployed into your instances, and we are start collecting those events. And we are keeping them in the location that you prior configured when you deployed the K audit.
He referred to that plug and play. In this iteration, we are going to focus on security and change management. So basically, ultimately, who's logging in, who's failing to log in, what's changed. stored procedures changing, permissions changing, tables changing, right? Columns changing, whatever it is. If there's a change, these are the pieces that we would want to collect. So again, I can put in that information here, and then I add my server. When I've added my server, I would see the list here, and I could click on then one of those and see details about what's happening there. In this case, I can see the audit it's running. I can see how many records I've processed, and then what the size of those audit logs looks like. And some basic information just in terms of, hey, from a management perspective, do I have sufficient space to be able to keep all of that logging? And then we can stop the audit if for whatever reason things change or migration, things of this nature. Okay, so with that configuration, we then go back to the covaco.com app, and here is where you'd then be able to log in and start to interact with that data. So in this case, again, natural query language, so very similar to the prompt. Everybody's using ChatGPT now. We want to give that same option functionality. So you can start asking it questions. Hey, show me all the log. In this case, we're showing show me all the login failures the last 48 hours, right? It'll go take a peek, prompt you for what else what you'd be looking for, give you these details, and then again, prompt you again. Do you want me to then, in this case, integrate with Jira? Do you want me to create a ticket for these? So it gives you, it's going to give you that ability to interact and then integrate with the applications that you currently have. So that way, from an audit perspective, you'll be able to know, hey, we had these failures. I created a ticket. It's now logged, and this is how I dealt with that. We had a change. It happened at this time. It happened outside of our maintenance window. This is either the exception or the reason, right? The emergency ticket assigned to that change. So we know that, one, you'll be able to come in and interrogate this as you want. What are the unknown unknowns, right? So we then want to go through on the reports option, show you, here are some of the anomalies that we've seen. We have 12 login attempts from the same IP address within 2 minutes, right? So that's abnormally large amount of login failures, right? Again, do you want to interrogate or find out more details? There could be other KPIs. I mentioned earlier, hey, there are changes that happened outside of the change control window. Is there exception reporting for that? Security permissions, right? Is there a ticket that's assigned to this security? Who authorized, right, that privilege? These types of things. So this detection would be able to then show you, and then you'd have the ability to interact with it. Again, in our example, we're saying create a Jira ticket to review these failures. There will be one thing that's not shown here, but Mariano referenced it, is the ability to say, okay, now let me export and basically show my SOC 2 document. And then it would have all the details that you would need for the auditor to be able to show, here are the events that happened, here are the actions that I took, and then you can go into those other applications for more evidence should you want them. So this is ultimately, right, what we think it will be a very easy way for people to be able to start collecting information from the SQL Server, interact with it, and report on it. Yeah, I think we'd like to get to know your thoughts.
One piece that I want to mention is that in the technical architecture of what we are envisioning for this first wave is that all the audit information is kept on your side. We are not taking any audit information outside your company. We are just connecting with the agent that we are deploying on your subscription or your environment. That's the main idea, is not to take any information outside the company or the organization, of course, due to security reasons. And We are trying to protect as much as we can on holding the information on the client side.
So we are ultimately looking for 10 initial pilot customers to work with us. And as we build this to help us test it out, if you're interested in becoming one of those pilot customers, please let us know. And we'll start reviewing applications in January.
We will call it near real time because we'll have a gap between the gathering of the audit and processing it in order to make the queries and all the natural language queries. We are near real time because SQL Server gets the audit pretty as fast as he can. So we'll try to keep up with that. But we should have the events as soon as possible in order to get the alerts and all the anomalies that we are envisioning to notify. Yeah, we thought about the knowledge base in order to have, once we detect an anomaly or we're making an alert, we have a knowledge base of, we create the alert, these are the next steps to acknowledge the alert and what are the steps you need to take in order to get the alert done or the anomaly done.
Are you interested in being part of our beta program? We are looking for 10 companies to use the tool and provide feedback to the team. The cost of this beta program is $1,000. To sign up, go to covico.net beta where you can get the details.